Okay, so I've been doing some testing and running around with the Pyro, and I've come to the following conclusions when to use each of the 4 weapons mentioned in the title. These, of course, will vary with playstyles and your personal preferences, so please do not consider these absolute or definitive. The Thermal Thruster, and this tool is more situational than people might like to believe. While it does offer extreme mobility, most of the maps offer workarounds for the detonator, which I personally find to be a far more superior hassle tool. Refer to these examples here. But because of this mobility, it does make the Pyro far more accessible to those areas and to players who can't quite master detonator jumping. And that is fair. In fact, in maps with high roofs or wide open spaces, the Thermal Thruster is a strong choice. The Thermal Thruster excels at payload and Koth in general because these map types are designed to have very few choke heavy points because it would make pushing the cart too difficult or capturing the point too unfair. This is not true of attack and defense and CP maps, which are designed around points becoming more or less defensible as you retreat or progress through the maps, each team gaining a strict advantage with which map as they lose. The Thermal Thruster has uses, but not as many for those game modes specifically, so trust your judgment on map knowledge. Shotguns are excellent at close quarters, and in some situations are preferable to flamethrowers. They do much better in attack, defense, and CP because burst damage can cut fights a few seconds short, which in Team Fortress 2 is a huge difference. However, since players aren't as punished as they used to be air stunning and shotgunning even with a stock shotgun, it isn't as reliable as it used to be. It also provides an excellent mid-range alternative, and sometimes guaranteed chip damage on fleeing targets is what you need more than a quick boost or a flare that might miss. For that reason, I'd suggest relying on shotguns for these modes more, as they usually have lower skyboxes and less vertical room or large gaps to traverse. Egypt is probably one of the biggest exceptions here. So, the flares individually all have their own uses. As much as I'd like to say that shotguns are the all-rounder tool, each flare has such a wide selection of uses that I dare to say that they are the good all-round choice for Pyro. Stock flare works well for short-range combat, but it is an excellent confirmed kill tool for players who reach away from flamethrowers. It just takes practice to aim and a bit of prediction training. The detonator is still the main mobility tool in my eye. It is far more reliable, and while it does cost a bit of health to jump, it always gets the job done as opposed to a thruster, which can leave you vulnerable for some time after leaving the thruster. Plus, it does make a semi-decent harassment tool that doesn't excel in either damage or AoE, but it's enough to ignite the enemy's dislike for you, which is sometimes all you need. Plus, Pyros who master the explosion mechanic can always guarantee that a player that they are targeting is on fire, which sometimes is great for pushing back the enemy team. Now, I know that the Scorch Shot itself is a disliked tool because it doesn't do any significant damage, nor the height of the detonator, but it trades its damage for defense, which is exactly what you are supposed to do with it. The knockback on burning players easily disorients the enemy team, and the fire can keep the enemy team being passive. I know that there's a genuine dislike of it in the community, but if you play more aggressively towards a Scorch Shot Pyro, you can turn the fights on them with much little fuss. As for the Gas Passer, anything with a control point is pretty much what you want to use this weapon for. I personally find its utility a little lacking, and I would like to encourage the Team Fortress 2 team to give anybody who is soaked in gas and ignited an inextinguishable afterburn that runs the full course. This would give the Gas Passer a strong field of control, and considering how long it takes to form one can of gas on its own, minus the, accelerated by damage, I wouldn't call that OP in the slightest. Having a slow or being able to crit with the Neon Annihilator also are acceptable passives that I would love to see. As it stands right now, the Gas Passer is not where it should be. However, I do think it has the potential to become a great secondary choice. You might have noticed that I didn't talk about the Reserve Shooter, and that's because it doesn't really serve a purpose. The stock shotgun is way better than the Reserve Shooter as it is right now. The situational uses for the Reserve Shooter are so limited that it's not worth using it right now. The Reserve Shooter for the Pyro needs an alternative method for it. But outside of that, those are how I feel about the weapons and where you should use them. I hope you got some good information out of this. Thank you all so much for listening, and please stay tuned because more will be coming your way. Bye-bye. Thanks for watching. If you like what I do, please consider checking out my Discord or Twitter in the description below. I stop by every day and I love to hang out with you guys there. If you wish to support me directly, you can send me a trade offer through Steam or donate through Streamlabs if money is more your shtick. If not, thanks for watching anyways, and I hope that you have a good day.